Hello and welcome to another Christmas Diaries. So this Christmas Diaries is going to be divided up into two different videos. I'm baking a bunch of cookies. I'm baking half bunches today and I'll be baking the rest this week. But the ones I'm doing today, there are 4 different cookies I'm making. One of them is a new recipe and I've already baked it. I didn't film it because it's a new recipe, wasn't sure how it was going to taste. It's already a hit. And it's also a cookie that's just for James and James. I wasn't going to give it out to the neighbors. I will show you that one. All recipes will be linked down below. There is a new recipe that I'm trying out also tomorrow, but there's a big story behind it and I am going to film that one. So let me show you the cookie that I just made. So this is called Peanut Butter Kiss Cookies, and oh my goodness, that is the easiest cookie recipe I have ever come across, ever. Minimal ingredients, and both of them said it's really good. So let's start with our cookies, shall we? The first cookie that we're going to be making is called Oatmeal Cranberry Cookies. So in this little KitchenAid bowl, I've got 1 cup of room temperature butter, 1 cup of brown sugar, and half a cup of sugar, and I'm going to cream it all together. Alright, now that it's creamed together, I'm going to be adding some vanilla. It calls for 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and then it calls for 2 eggs, but to add it 1 at a time. Room temperature eggs. There's egg number 1. Now we're going to do egg number 2. So in this bowl, I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of baking soda, half a teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, and 1.5 cups of flour. Now we're going to add the dried ingredients to the wet ingredients. We're going to mix this up. So I'm going to go ahead and add my cranberries to it. You can use fresh or dried cranberries. If you use fresh, make sure you quarter or half them. The really, really small ones, I didn't. And then we're going to add 3 cups of oats. And then the last thing we are going to add is 1 cup of white chocolate chips. And we're going to mix them all together. Okay, so I cooked the first batch. I wanted to see how far they spread out. And this second batch, I've got a third batch that's going to go in. I'm going to cook it for 12 minutes. I'm letting this cool off, and then I'm going to actually start packaging all this up into places for my neighbors, cookies for my neighbors. Okay, who doesn't love chocolate chip? Now, the deal about this chocolate chip recipe is it has to, after I get everything together, it has to go in the fridge for a minimum of 24 hours to 72 hours before it's baked so it can marinate. So in here I've got a cup, 1 1/4 cup of brown sugar, half a cup of sugar, and a cup of butter. And I'm going to cream it together. That looks really good. Okay, now we're going to add 2 eggs to this and then mix it up again. Making sure I didn't get any eggshells in there. And we add 2 teaspoons of vanilla. And we just mix it again. I added some of the dry ingredients to the wet. I still have about a cup left of my dry ingredients to add. Alright, it is all mixed up, and now it's time to add the chocolate chips. Okay, so I've got it in a bowl, wrapped with plastic wrap, and I'm going to put it in the fridge for about 24 hours. So about this time tomorrow, I'll be making the chocolate chip cookies. The last cookie that we're going to be making is whipped shortbread. So I have about a cup of butter and half a cup of powdered sugar. I'm going to cream that together. All right, then I'm going to add a cup and a half of flour, 1/4 cup of cornstarch, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and a teaspoon of vanilla. I'm going to mix this all together. Okay, you are going to want to dust your hands with cornstarch before you start this, because it is really a sticky thing. You're going to want to roll them into balls. I think what I did last year is I put them in the fridge for about 15 minutes, but we're already deep into this, so we got a fork. What you want to do is you want to press down on each of the things with a fork gently, just to get them to mash down a little bit. I have 2 different types of sprinkles. We're going to see how far these sprinkles go. This is just green sprinkles. Hey, went the whole way. You're going to want to cook this for about 14 to 16 minutes. I'm going to put it in for 14 minutes. All right, so this has been sitting for a little bit longer than 24 hours. It's been about 48 hours. But the cookie dough is ready to go. My oven's heated up to 350. I'm going to use a spoon and just spoon out about a dozen of this. What I don't use, I want to do about 2 dozens. It says it makes 3. If it only makes 2 dozen, that's awesome. If it makes 3, then the extra dozen I'm going to actually freeze in my freezer for later on in the month. All right, so it actually makes 4 dozen, so I went ahead and froze 2 dozen of the dough for another batch. This is the first batch. We've already had one. It's really good. The second batch will be out in 11 minutes. All right, so there they are. Another one has been eaten. That was by me. I'll divide some of this up between my family and our neighbors, and then I'll go hand out all the cookies. I've got a second round of cookies, of different cookies to make this next weekend coming up. One of them that I'm really worried that I'm going to mess up, but I really want to get it right, and that's gingerbread men. So I will see you tomorrow.